o'clock, so we'll get started. I welcome you all to the Spreading People First Language webinar. This is sponsored by the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities. It is all about a passion to change the language used and the attitudes about people with developmental disabilities. Our goal is to recruit others who promote People First language, specifically in North Carolina. We want to give tips on reaching out to your own community and change attitudes about people with developmental disabilities. Who we are, my name is Sherry Wallace. I am the Communications Advisor for the North Carolina Council on Developmental Disabilities, and I will be the facilitator for this event. Who I have with me on the panel are parents of children with developmental disabilities: April Houston, Mary Colby, Bob West, and Doug Hedrick. They have all had experience with the program sponsored by the North Carolina Council, which is the North Carolina Partners in Policymaking Worldwide event. The key booklet that will be referred to by many of the panelists is entitled "We Haven't Met Just Yet, but I'm Your Neighbor." It is a booklet created by the Council. It is free. It can be downloaded from the Council's website, and also is something that you can request that be sent to you through the info@nccdd.org. It is an extremely valuable booklet and has really made a difference, as you will hear, through many of the excuse me, I'm losing my space here. We refer to it as the People First booklet. Just one clarification on making sure everyone understands what People First language is that we're going to be talking about. It is about the words that focus on the person and not the disability. You pay attention to many, many aspects of an individual and not focusing, first of all, on that they have a certain type of disability. It is all about showing respect for the opinions and experiences and skills of the person who has a disability, and it's simply how you refer to that whole person. One example is in the words you're looking at on the screen. The old way of saying, and the disrespectful way of saying that last sentence would be skills of the disabled person. And instead, we want people to really pay attention to the person first, skills of the person who has a disability. I'd first like to introduce you to April Houston. She is an energetic mother who has really reached out to her own community, to her relatives and neighbors, and also people that she's never met before, to talk about this. April?
Hi. Like Sherry said, my name is April Houston, and I am from Little County. I am a mother of 3 children that happen to have developmental disabilities. I work for Family Support Network of the Crystal Coast. I have been with them for a little over a year now, and I love it. I help families that have children with special needs and disabilities by providing resources, education opportunities, parent-to-parent matches, and much more. I am passionate about People First language because it is so very important, and because it is near and dear to me personally and professionally. I learned that I needed to be my own child's best advocate, because if I don't, who will? I never had information or resources given to me without working extremely hard for them. So I had to get a backbone and stand up for my children to get what they needed. Now I'd like to share with you some of my tips on how to spread the word. I always have a People First language brochure with me at all times. I keep them in my van, my purse, my bag for work, pretty much everywhere. I leave some anywhere I am allowed to, like businesses, the grocery store, churches. You get the point. You should always offer your hand to shake hands with others. Look them in the eye and smile. Then ask, can I have a second of your time? You may be pleasantly surprised how something that simple works so well. I explain to them what it means to me, how non-use of People First language has affected me, my children, and families that I work with. Emphasize that name-calling hurts. Most people doesn't realize that common names that are used in everyday language could be offensive to someone with a disability. Give out your business card or contact information. Hopefully they will want to know more, and if that happens, be prepared. Consider that any meeting is a good target. It could be at your child's school, bring it up at PTA, or ask permission to talk to the teachers during the staff meeting. At your church, whenever is appropriate. It will probably be your easiest and quickest to get a yes. Even at work, you could ask for permission to talk about it during a staff meeting there also. Always remember to start at the top. There are the decision makers, the ones that can make changes in their policies. Talk to emergency service professionals, police officers, firemen, EMTs, even jailers, about being respectful. They demand it, and they should give it too. All people deserve respect. There is not one decent person on this planet that doesn't deserve respect, and there is no reason why they shouldn't receive and expect it. All people, not just the businessman or the doctor or the teacher or the officer, anyone, the man that happens to use a wheelchair that rides the bus, the little girl that uses a cane to walk because she cannot see, or the lady that has involuntary tics at the grocery store. Remember, all means all. Be gentle but honest, even with family members. I didn't find it all that funny, and yes, it kind of hurts. I have had to say those words. Even family can hurt you or your child's feelings. A lot of the time they don't even know it. They don't know it because you didn't tell them. You can't expect them to know. You have to speak up. Be the example. Talk to a stranger. What do you really have to lose? Pride? I don't think so. Shame? For what? You have nothing to lose, but you do have a great deal to gain. So just do it. That's all I have for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, April. And I've been hearing that many more people have been coming in to the webinar that we've just heard from April Houston, and she's given her tips from her experience of reaching out into the community. The next person is Mary Colby, who is a consummate teacher and has really developed a wonderful PowerPoint presentation that she's been able to reach out to professionals and share her passion about People First language. Mary?
Thank you, Sherry. I'm Mary Colby, and I'm from Caldwell County. I'm a teacher by nature and by genetics. My mother and sister, uncle, cousins, their husbands, everyone's teachers in my family. And I've taught about every level of education there is, from preschool through high school and adults as well. I'm so fortunate now, as a staff member of Family Support Network HOPE, to be able to provide some training to families of children with disabilities and the professionals who work with them. I've always been an advocate for children. As a teacher with no children of my own at the time, all of my students were my children, and I stood up for them whenever they needed it. And once I became a mother, my advocacy had a very narrow focus on my own two children's immediate needs. And then after both children were diagnosed with developmental disabilities, that focus became even narrower. Then last year, my husband John and I went through Partners. And I'll tell you, that truly was a life-changing experience. As our training progressed, I began to see my daughter Allie, whose disability is more complex than her brother's, in a different light. I saw Allie as a member of a group of people with developmental disabilities. And my advocacy focus started to broaden. Eventually, I saw the bigger picture of Allie in the group of all people with disabilities. Those people who deserve to live side by side with those who don't have disabilities. And now that's my focus, on that big picture, a world where people with disabilities belong. Our Partners training gave us such valuable information on so many disability topics. but the one that really struck me the most was People First language. I was so moved by its simplicity, its basic goodness, the premise of treating all people with respect and courtesy, whether or not they have a disability. And the idea that it's so easy to do. It just takes some practice, and you're changing your way of looking at people with disabilities. You're changing your way of talking to them and about them, putting the focus where it belongs, on the person rather than the disability. I developed a 30-minute PowerPoint presentation on People First language for groups of parents and professionals. After my first presentation, I knew that I wanted to give my PowerPoint to as many groups as are willing to listen to it. I'm absolutely passionate about spreading the word about People First language, and I encourage my audiences to do the same. So here are some of my tips for presenting to professionals in human services. First, know your audience in advance and know their interactions with others. Are they the first contact with the family of the child with a disability? If so, their modeling of People First language with family members can make all the difference in the way that child is treated, within the family and within the community. Also, be sure to use examples that are relevant to the particular group you're addressing. A PowerPoint presentation is a wonderful tool. You can adapt it to your specific audience, usually just by changing the beginning and ending slides and keep the middle. Introduce yourself. Tell your story just like I did. Let your audience know why People First language is so important to you. Share a personal experience on the power of words. I usually say, I'll bet everyone in this room can still remember the sting of something that was said to them when they were children. Thoughtless, hurtful words from the mouth of a parent, a teacher, a sibling, or a friend. And then at the end of the PowerPoint, give them something specific to remember, that their words have the power to change the way the world perceives people with disabilities. I believe that any slide presentation on People First language or disability etiquette should include a section that addresses the term retarded. A very wise fellow advocate taught me to say, first, let's stop calling it the R word as if it doesn't exist. The word is retarded, and it's never appropriate to use that term. I talk about the history of the term mental retardation, which began as a legitimate medical diagnosis but has deteriorated into a hurtful slur. Rosa's Law is a wonderful reference on this topic. Some people are not aware that this federal legislation has been passed. Rosa's Law removes the terms mentally retarded and mental retardation from language used in most federal health, education, and labor statutes, replacing them with intellectual disability. And some states are passing the law as well. Another tip would be to refer to the booklet during the presentation, but don't hand it out until the end. You want people to take it home as a reference. You don't want them reading through it during your presentation. And also, I would suggest giving each professional at least 2 copies of the booklet, one for home and one for work. Now, I have just a couple of tips on presenting to an audience whose first language is Spanish. First, you need to determine if you need a translator. Ask the Spanish-speaking outreach coordinator to facilitate the meeting as usual. You don't want to appear to be taking over their entire meeting. You're just presenting. And, of course, you give out the Spanish booklet at the end. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I thank you all for being here and for your willingness to continue to spread the word on People First language. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary, and thank you for the reminder that we do have the booklet in Spanish, and you're making sure that it reaches out into that community. Next person is Bob West, who has, from the state of Florida, sorry, Bob, to North Carolina, has really reached out into a wide variety of communities in order to help people understand the value and the respect that is needed for individuals with disabilities. Bob?
Thank you, Sherry. As Sherry said, I am Bob West, and I'm from Craven County. Our daughter Jennifer was a participant and partners, and her mother Sandy and I attended each one of her classes so we could help her with her homework and doing the different types of stuff that she needed to do. When Jennifer was born in 1977, it was a complete blessing to us, and it wasn't until later when she wasn't hitting milestones that we realized that there was a problem. What seemed to be a problem for some of the people ended up being a blessing to us and a great opportunity of learning. And from that, reaching out and learning, we ended up going through the school system and having to do due process hearings, and being a parent, not really knowing that much, had to do a lot of research on my own, and was able to win each one of those due process hearings. So from that, I ended up being an advocate not only for Jennifer, but everyone in her class. I also became an advocate at the place that I worked in Florida, which was the Naval Air Station in Pensacola, and reached out and joined the advocates that were in that area, which was very few, and we started a group through the ARC, and I was joined Governor Bob Graham of Florida was looking for people to get on a committee, which I jumped at the chance, and from that I ended up, coaching Special Olympics. I've been a scout master, a cub master. I've done everything in scouting and still stick with scouting. Just retired in January as an aircraft examiner. I've held the positions of the national president for the National Association of Aeronautical Examiners. Jennifer and I, we volunteer at the hospital. We work at our church, and I'm also a volunteer fire department. And in all those areas, it's been an opportunity that doors have opened that you find yourself where you can speak on behalf of people with disabilities. For some of my tips that I would mention to anyone is to, if you can, try to contact a administrator, one of their assistants or the administrator. If you can't get into the office, let them know that you have a booklet that you would like for them to see that doesn't cost anything. You'd be more than happy to answer some questions. Leave your name and number. If you have a business card, it's good. And a simple card with just your name and phone number on it. And only take about 3 to 5 minutes. Usually they will ask you more questions, and it opens the door. Once you leave there, if you really don't know any place, then the best thing to do is start looking for a gatekeeper. And that's a person who usually works somewhere everybody knows. It could be someone in your church, someone you work with in your shop. Because I'm a tradesperson, I use the term shop, or any of the organizations, there's always someone there that seems like everybody knows, and that would be your gatekeeper, and go to them. Also, once you kind of find your gatekeepers and you get into organizations, one of the things that you can do, and for a lot of people being nervous speaking before a group and all that, one of the things you can do is try to find friendly groups. Whatever your child or person you're working with, disability, usually they'll fall into, having one of the, United Cerebral Palsy, the ARC of North Carolina. Some of those organizations will be more than happy for you to come in and speak, and they will also be one of the ones that will also help you work on your presentation. And they're a great source of information and help, and can work on terms and different things that you need to do. One of the things I do in scouting is I teach the Disability Merit Badge, and I'm on the I cover like 3 or 4 different counties here in North Carolina, and as a commissioner, that's one of the things I do. Jennifer and I started volunteering at the hospital, and we found out that they have a program that's usually about every 90 days. So now we are going in and speaking to the staff and volunteers to educate them on People First language. We also try to do things with the church, and she plays softball, bowling, bocce. So all those opportunities, we meet other parents and trying to motivate them also into doing that. Whenever I go in, I always ask for about 15 minutes to do a presentation, to try to leave a lot of time for questions. And those questions will lead into more information. I also always like to bring along a friendly face, and for me, that's my daughter, Jennifer. And in the last year, President Obama had mandated for the federal government 1% of the employment, but unfortunately, the employment that they're looking for is for people that are on the higher level, wheelchairs, that type of thing. So now I'm trying to advocate for businesses to do like Walgreens and look where a person can be used, not look at the disability and then try to place them. So it's just the same thing with people first. See that person first, get to know them, and then you can work through any of the other things. So that would be my tips, and look forward to questions at the end of this meeting here. Thank you, Sherry.
Good. Thank you, Bob. Our last speaker is Doug Hedrick, who didn't wait any bit to go directly to his school board with the People First booklet and talk to them about People First language. Very energetic, focused guy who was the last speaker. So, Doug.
I appreciate the introduction, Sherry. Thank you so much. Well, my name is Doug Hedrick, and I am from Burke County. I am the father of 2 boys who just happen to have a disability. And what I do for a job is I'm employed in the engineering field where we develop fiber optic cable. One of the most interesting things that have happened to me in the last couple of years is now I'm an advocate for people with disabilities. And I've been blessed with 2 wonderful boys that have allowed me to be able to be a voice for people with disabilities. I took the Partners in Policy Making class with my wife, and I have to agree with Mary Colby previously that it is a life-changing experience. One of the interesting things that happened during this was when we were in Raleigh at a partners training class, is I received a booklet, and it was titled, "We Haven't Just Met Yet, but I'm Your Neighbor." An outstanding book about talking about People First language. When I received that book on a Sunday, that next Monday, I approached the Burke County School Board. I asked them to adopt a People First language policy, and the school board listened. They took this pamphlet that I was given just the previous day. They looked at it, analyzed it, made changes, and made it their own document. And I'm so glad to say that the Burke County school systems now has a People First language policy. And what this can do for a person who's an advocate who wants to make sure that that voice is being heard, it gives you the leverage of being a credible advocate. It lets you to shake that hand, to be able to move forward and say, this is a good policy. This is appropriate language that we should be directing to our students. Also, what is very important is to let that organization know how they're doing. So I did a little homework, and I tried to canvass as many. Well, I contacted each district, 115 districts in the North Carolina school system. Got a lot of feedback back from them, and some I did not. But one thing that I could find out, I could say, is that Burke County was the first school system in North Carolina to adopt a People First language policy. And what I want to say to the people in attendance is, this is fertile ground. This is where you can catch on and to make sure that all of our students are spoken to appropriately. There's another 114 school systems in our state that are willing or possibly be able to adopt this People First language policy. One thing I want to say is, in Burke County, we don't have wheelchair-bound students, we don't have retarded students, we don't have handicapped students. We have students who just happen to have a disability. Another great way to model People First language was similar to what Bob was speaking about, and that is to do it in Cub Scouts. Do it with young people, and you teaching them by modeling appropriate language. You call a person, they're a person first. that just happens to have a disability. You can carry this over. I volunteer at science fairs. I volunteer at church. And what my message is just to teach and model respectful language. It's basically that simple. Another part of my advocacy is I'm branching out into the Rotary meetings. Rotaries are very interested in hearing language and hearing what's going on in the community. So I want to address my business leaders. Here's an interesting statistic. The employment rate, now this is the amount of people that are employed that has a disability in the United States, is currently about 22%. 22% of the population of people with disabilities are employed. If you look the other way, that means that 78% of the people that have a disability are unemployed. That is huge. That is drastic. There's a goal and a movement in North Carolina to move that employment rate up to 44%. And what I want to do is to address the business leaders in my area the importance of people first language. So when more people with disabilities are employed in my area and across North Carolina, that this respectful language is already in the workplace. And Sherry, I just want to tell the folks out that is listening to this broadcast, I appreciate everybody listening to this because this is an important advocacy moment and it's a way we can move forward as a group. And I appreciate it, Sherry. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Doug. As you can, as all the listeners can see, so far this group of 4 people has affected the Burke County School Board and changed policies, has gone to the National Association of Aeronautical Examiners and changed their bylaws. Thank you, Bob. And Mary and April have been very busy in talking to schools, professionals, churches, EMTs, as as April mentioned, jailers, and also their own relatives and neighbors. So they are providing great examples for all of us in changing the language. We now have 30 minutes left in the presentation, and we certainly would like to hear your questions for the presenters. As I mentioned, you can write something in the Q&A. So far we have no questions. I don't know if that means we've had terrific presenters or if you all just understand everything perfectly and you're ready to go out. But what we need now to do is see if any of you have questions. If you want to write in the Q&A, or if you want to, what they call is raise your hand, and I should be able to give you the microphone. Actually, what I'm going to do is unmute all of you and see who would like to ask some questions. An easy question, maybe not so easy, but I think all 4 of the people have had to do it themselves, is you're basically asking people to change their way of thinking or talking, and have you ever run across that people are just really arguing with you about or feeling offended that you're talking about changing their language or that they should change their language? Any comments about that from the presenters?
Sherry, this is April.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have actually ran into that. I've had instances where I've had the opportunity to speak to some people, and sometimes it does come back in your face, but you have to keep trying anyway. I had one in particular that was very offended by what I said was the respectful language. and she thought that what she was saying was respectful, and I by no means was calling her a liar or saying, you know, I wasn't really getting on her or anything. I was just explaining about people first language and, you know, what was appropriate. And she took real offense to it, and sometimes they do. Hopefully you won't run into that often, but on occasion you do, and that's when you just say, well, thank you for your time anyway, and carry on to the next one. Just keep going.
I think, Sherry, this is Bob West. I think the most important thing on that is you're going to run into the people in every walk of life, and whatever their background is, we all have certain prejudices that we pick up over the years, and it takes some time to change that. And in the incidents where I've run into it would be especially at work when you're bringing someone in with whatever their disability is into a shop. A lot of people will seem like, you know, I'm 60 now, but I'm saying the older people, but, you know, those that seem that they may, you know, feel like, well, he's taking a job that, you know, my son or somebody could have. And then I've noticed some of the real younger people that I think it's the way the society is, that certain words and language is funny. They really hadn't grown up enough to understand that. And I think if you really try to sit down with most of them and explain to them, and they see you doing that, then what happens is they pick up on you and they'll say, well, you know, I know I'm going to offend him if I say that. So all you're doing is you're planting a seed. Okay, if I'm going to offend, and he starts changing or she starts changing their wording around you, then that will eventually carry over to they will see that, you know. And for me, having different activities where I invite people from when I worked, you know, I retired in January, but from work, I've invited people to come out and help with Special Olympics and to help with special needs baseball and bowling and stuff like that. So they really get to be out there and they're just throwing a ball and doing the stuff. They get caught up in a game and they forget all about, I'm out here with an athlete. You know, and so I think it's just a matter of education over and over and over, as you would a kindergartner teaching something. You have to be constant on guard and try, like April said, not to offend, but be direct enough to let them know that, hey, there's a different way, and you have offended someone, you know.
And I have,
Bob. If I could,
sure.
Jennifer has been listening in, and you know, she's got a first-hand knowledge on that, so she had something that she would like to say.
Okay. Welcome, Jennifer. Jennifer is Bob's daughter.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
It hurts when people call you names and make fun of you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I hope everyone could hear her. What I heard you say, it hurts when people call you names.
Yes.
And we certainly want to change that, Jennifer. So,
thanks for letting us know, Jennifer.
Yeah.
This is Doug. Thank you for letting us know.
Okay.
Great. We do have a question from Jill Rushing, very similar to what we've been talking about. Thank you for a great presentation. How do you gently educate people if you hear them use non-people first language? And I certainly am going to listen to the answer because I will have to call Colorado Captioning and talk to them about their non-people first language. So how do you gently educate?
Oh, I'd love to have an opportunity to answer that question if you don't mind.
Sure.
This is Doug from Burke County. And Jill, thank you for asking that question. I really like the way you said to gently educate people, because you could so easily be in your face and abrupt and abrasive. And I think the best way to gently educate people is to model the behavior that you want to see. If you model the behavior, if someone says, well, that's a great autistic student, or, you know, that crippled girl gets around very well, is to counter that. And it's like, yeah, that student with autism, he's doing well. Or, you know, that girl that uses the wheelchair, she does a really good job at recess. Is to correctly educate people, or to gently educate people, is about modeling. Would any of the other panelists like to address that?
I think you're absolutely right, Doug. I think when we started a program after we moved from Florida to North Carolina, and there wasn't anything, we went out to the college and met with the dean of schools, and we were trying to get something going there. He had a great concern that once the students started coming in, once it was approved, that he would have some problems. And he found that just the opposite. Once all the students was in Jennifer's class and was going to class, and they all went to lunch over at the canteen and did the different things they did, they noticed that even some of the people that were laughing and doing some stuff, some of the other students started to correcting them. And so whenever we talked to him, he was like, it's really amazing that once students get to know our special students, although they don't put anything out about, you know, who they are, they just kind of pick up on it, that they've become great friends and barriers have fallen. And I think gently educating means involving yourself in someone with a disability and having that person in your life somehow or another, through friendship, through church, through scouting, through whatever it may be, and then having that person with you as you go through life, you know, taking that extra time with it. And then when people do see that, you know, you can, just like Doug said, it's so simple to just change the wording and just very gently, you will learn from them. Just as Jennifer said, it hurts when people, you know, call me name and say things. So we have to try to explain to Jennifer, everyone, you know, is not on cue with what we're trying to do. And the other thing is that booklet, that simple booklet is so important to just hand someone, you know. So look, if you would, please just kind of read over this. It's a good thing to take to work and kind of like pass out, you know, and do that. And if you are a parent of someone with a disability, please don't hide it. Please speak out about it. You know, you've accepted it. God has blessed you with the child that you have, and so just be open about it. You know, and that's very important.
Thank you, Bob.
Jerry, this is Mary. I'd like to add something to that, too, if I may. I think to gently educate, it depends on who the person is. Children are so easy to model correct language with. You know, it's just like when your child is first learning how to speak. You automatically reword what they've just said so that it comes out correctly. You're just, yes, that, instead of doggy funny, you know, you can say, yes, that dog is funny. And that modeling will come through to the child. When it's an adult, it can be a little trickier, just modeling immediately after they've said it, because you don't want to offend them or, you know, talk down to them in any way. Sometimes we had a discussion about this after my very first presentation in front of a parent group about how do you handle this situation. And the consensus seemed to be it depends on the person. If you know them very well and you feel comfortable talking with them, then you can just gently say, you know, tell them a little bit about what you know about People First language and the respectful, courteous way of basically the golden rule. This kind of language is more appropriate. Or you can just make sure that the next time you're around that person, you're using that appropriate People First language, and you use it enough times and it will eventually, the message should get through.
Thank you. We have another question on how do you go about arranging speakers to a community group such as a Rotary Club?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to take that, since we had some great opportunity to speak to a Rotary just recently. And this is Doug from Burke County.
Okay, thanks.
The interesting thing is that the groups like the Rotary Kiwanis, Elks, Moose, they're looking for what is going on in the community, what things are happening, and how are we making our community better. And they actually ask for presenters. And so the way to do that is to find your local business leaders or find these representatives that are with these clubs. And this is going out and talking to people. Actually, I met a Rotary person, a Rotarian, at my church. And he was talking about finding speakers. And I thought, my partner's training has taught me to be a public speaker. What a perfect opportunity to be a public speaker and to promote People First language to a number of business leaders in my area. Interesting side note, I didn't know who all was going to be there. I did not know the people that were involved with the Rotary. Well, 2 school board members came to that meeting to listen about People First language and how Burke County is leading the way in its application. So my goal, what I'm asking people to do is to get out and to find these leaders in their community and ask to speak to their clubs. Thanks.
Good.
Sherry, could I add to that also?
Thanks,
this
Doug.
is Mary.
Sure.
It's interestingly enough, I just went to a Kiwanis meeting today. Our Family Support Network staff was invited to come and talk to the Kiwanis during their monthly meeting today to talk about what Family Support Network does and how we're active in the county. And as the presentation went on, I realized their goals are so similar to ours that I said, I really need to speak to these people about People First language. It even says in their objectives, to encourage the daily living of the golden rule in all human relationships. It's a global organization of volunteers dedicated to changing the world one child and one community at a time. I mean, that's like perfect for People First language.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is when I write my thank you note to the president of the Kiwanis for inviting us to come and talk to them about Family Support Network, I'm going to include one of the booklets. And I'm going to tell him, by the way, I have a presentation which I can trim down to 15 or 20 minutes, but it usually goes about 30. If you'd like me to come and present this to your group, I'd be more than happy to do so. And I'd like to add, when I'm mentioning thank you notes, they are crucial. Anytime you speak to a group, get the thank you note out to them. Make it personal. Thank you for having me as a speaker, and let me know if there's anything else I can do for your organization to help promote People First language. Thank you.
Thank you. Some great ideas. So,
can
any
I follow
other
up on
ideas? I know that Bob, is that you?
Yes, I just want to say one thing on the thank you notes. If it's great to send a thank you note, as Mary said, directly to the group that you spoke to, whoever's that, but the person that really got you in, that gatekeeper, whoever, if you send a thank you note to them, if you could write a little thing in there how important it was and how successful it was, or something that really pat them on the back or whatever, because in the future that person can lead you to other areas. Thanks.
Terrific. Great idea, Bob and Mary. April, do you have your 2 cents about speaking into community groups since you do that so easily?
Okay, I can. My very first thing is always going to be just take the leap. It doesn't matter who it is. Yes, of course, you try to get that leader, the top person in charge. You try to get to them first, but if you can't get to them, it doesn't matter who you get. Get somebody, because somebody will listen. And if you can, catch them and get a second of their time, and they'll actually listen to you for that second, then that's your little foot in the door, and then that might lead you up to the one that you need. But just make the effort. It doesn't matter who it is, what kind of group it is, where you're at, just go for it, no matter what. And don't give up.
Thank you. Thank you, April.
Thank you.
I have unmuted all of the people in attendance, so you could ask a question. Brittany, I see that you have a phone line to us, and also there's another caller, and Judy Johnson. Do you have a question for the panel?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh, okay. Good.
I've just been listening with interest.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Sherry,
other, okay?
Sherry, one thing I would like to say to everybody out there, you don't have to go to a partners in policy making type program to get where you can speak or do whatever. You know, that, like I said, Sandy and I, we didn't do that. We were way back. We were on our own, didn't know anybody. But if you can find other parents and just sit down with them, you're going to tell your story. I think Mary had mentioned something that you're telling your story. And if you can find parents of children, you know, like Jennifer, she's 34, so I'm still out there, you know, now that I'm retired, I'm really out there looking for parents, you know, who have, you know, made just experience of having a child with, you know, Down syndrome or you know, autism. They just found that out or whatever, you know. So I'm out and I got, you know, trying to educate those and getting them to speak. And after you do it once or twice, and like I said, you take a friendly person with you, you'll build your own little rapport where you can speak out and you know what hurts you and how you've been hurt by maybe somebody had said something, and sometimes it's just they didn't mean to. But don't think you have to go through some kind of training to tell your story. Nobody knows your story better than you. And you can tell that story, and you can tell that story of your child, you know, nobody better than you, and just tell it from your heart, and you will never have a problem with anything.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Anyone else listening in have a question for the group? I see we're out of the Q&A written questions, but we certainly can get questions from others. Any other questions? Any? Okay. The last section was, is there any way that we can help spread the word? I think we definitely have the booklets for you available, and we've mentioned going to the website. You can download the booklet. It features 4 incredible people and the wide array of personalities and backgrounds, and they are individuals who just happen to have a disability. And so those booklets are available to you. You can contact us through info@nccdd.org. And we also would like to do this webinar again in June and July, and would welcome your ideas for what should be covered. I feel that we've got 4 panelists all full of ideas and interests, and the council would really like to see how it can reach out more to families and to the communities in North Carolina. So thank you all for your interest. Any last comments from the panel? On behalf of the council, I do thank all 4 of you for being so willing to not only reach out into the community, but also to be part of this webinar. Any last comments from the panel?
Well, the last thing I'd like to say is just a thank you. Thank you to you, Sherry. Thank you to the council for trying to get the word out, and you know, just what little we can do as parents and advocates. You know, the only voice we have is by, you know, someone like the council providing a means for us to speak out. And so I definitely, on behalf of Jennifer and all of her friends and everybody from Craven County, I certainly thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes, Sherry, thank you.
I just appreciate the opportunity for the council to put this training on. and be able to have a venue like this. I appreciate all the attendees to be able to listen to our story. And one thing that I do ask is take this and run. Push it forward. Make it happen. We all can do this. It's great stuff. It's really great stuff. And I appreciate everybody's participation in this. Doug Hedrick from Burke County.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Doug.
This is April.
Yes.
I also want to show my appreciation not only for the council and for the Wallace group putting this together, but for allowing us to be a part of it and for seeking us out. That was a big deal, and we really appreciate it and thankful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And this is Mary. I'd like to add my thanks and mention that something like this has just gotten me more fired up than ever.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Great. Well, thank you
so
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate, and everyone will receive information about our plans for the June and July webinars. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.